And welcome. Happy New Year, everyone. So due to our Facebook Live event today, I'm Dr. Catherine Taketa-Wong, and I'm a naturopathic physician and acupuncturist. So for those of you who aren't familiar with naturopathic physicians, again, we are trained as primary care physicians, and as such, I can order lab tests, write prescriptions, and do school physicals just like other doctors. However, a big difference is that naturopathic doctors are trained in using diet, vitamins, herbs, and other types of natural remedies to address the underlying causes of disease and treat the whole person. I also have a master's degree in Oriental medicine, which allows me to include Chinese medicine and acupuncture in my treatment protocols. So before we begin, I wanted to let you know that if you have health concerns you'd like to talk with me about, we offer a no-charge phone consultation. The 15-minute phone consultation is where we can talk about your condition and get some more details about things that might be missing in your care and coming up with a plan to be able to help you the most. Arranging a consultation is very easy. Just call our office at 808-425-2987 and let our staff know that you're interested in a no-charge phone consultation. Okay, so let's get started, and please feel free to use the comment section to ask questions as the talk progresses. Now, just to introduce our subject today, when we talk about the mind and body being one, the subject is typically things like meditation or our attitude or the connection between, say, like anxiety and digestive ills. But another connection is how we plan to achieve our health objectives, whether it's losing weight or overcoming menstrual problems or headaches or improving our diet, finding the right foods for our body, and so on. So, and have you ever made New Year's resolutions where you're saying, okay, I'm going to do this, and then by the end of January or mid-February, you find that that resolution has just kind of gone out the window? I know I've done that before. And I think it's a common pattern for a lot of people that we start the new year, we're full of hope, and we're saying, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to change things, I'm going to make this New Year's resolution. And then several weeks down the line, it kind of peters out. And a few months, you're just kind of right back where you were at the end of December. So today I'm going to talk about some things to help you break that pattern and to help you be able to be successful in your goals and your resolutions, particularly health resolutions. So my topic for today is the top 5 reasons why New Year's health resolutions don't succeed and how you can make them work. And the answers aren't limited to just resolutions made at this time of year, of course. They apply to achieving your health objectives every day, all year long. So the top 5 reasons why health resolutions don't succeed and how to make them work. So I'm going to introduce really quickly, before I get into those 5 reasons, something called SMART resolutions. And it's an acronym for some of the important things, and I'll be referring back to them as I go through some of those top 5 reasons. So SMART is an acronym for resolutions that we need. So SMART stands for S-M-A-R-T. So S stands for specific, M for measurable, A for achievable, R for realistic, and T for timed. And I'll be going back through and referring to each of these as I go through those reasons. But these are some of the really important keys in terms of making and creating goal that's something that you're going to be more likely to achieve. And so we'll talk about each of those things, like I said. So for specific, for S, that's something that it needs to be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timed. So again, we'll talk about those things. So one of the top reasons that people tend not to be successful, so reason number 1 is that people don't tell anybody else. They just keep it to themselves. And that's a big one. Because just explaining it to somebody else can help to clarify what your goals actually are. And one of the things when I talk about SMART goals is that your goal needs to be specific. So one of the common things that people do is that they make resolutions that are very vague. For example, they may say, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to meditate this year. But it's just a really vague goal. I'm going to meditate, but it's not specific. So an example of a specific resolution is I will be meditating for 5 minutes every morning starting January 10th. So that's something that is, of course, specific. And when you help to tell someone else, then that's something that's really important to help you be able to make sure that it is specific. Telling someone else helps you to clarify what is the goal that I have, and they can help you to make it more specific so that you have first of all, something that is very specific and you can tell if you're actually doing it or not. Because if it's just a vague resolution, I'm going to meditate, what does that mean? I'm going to meditate next week. That's a lot more difficult to keep track of. So telling someone else is the number one thing. And again, that plays along with specific, because telling someone else can help you to clarify and make it more specific. Another reason why telling someone else is going to help to keep you more successful is because it helps to keep you accountable on a consistent, ongoing basis. And it's important to find someone else that you're going to get along well enough to accept their support. So you want someone who will say, you said you were going to meditate now and you're not. What's going on? Now, support can be giving agreement and being nice when things are going as you planned. And having a cheerleader is great, but when you don't deserve when you don't deserve someone cheering you on, for example, if you're not doing it, you don't want someone to just keep saying, okay, great job, when you're not actually doing it. So having someone tell you, well, I guess you know what you're doing, but if they're not going to help keep you accountable, then that's a really big key. Sometimes it can be very helpful to have a professional or someone that's removed from your family members so that there's not some of the interpersonal relationships playing into that, someone who can help to keep you more specifically accountable for that goal. And you don't want someone who's just going to support laziness or procrastination or anxiety, because that doesn't help you to achieve your resolution. So you want to pick someone who can be your cheerleader, but also be straight with you when you need it. The second thing that I'm going to talk about in terms of why a lot of health resolutions fail is that it's not specific to you. So for example, a lot of people have a health resolution for the new year that I'm going to lose weight. But one of the things that they often don't know is that they may have food allergies or sensitivities. There may be foods that their body specifically has a hard time processing or dealing with. Some people may have issues with gluten and other people may be just fine. And some people can have very bad effects in terms of taking certain foods out, and other people do really well on it. So I deal with a lot of different diets, and I've worked with gluten-free and dairy-free diets, with GAPS, with low oxalate, low histamine. There's so many different diets. And one of the things that I've learned over the years is that there is absolutely no one-size-fits-all diet. There really isn't. Everyone's body is so different. And so being specific and finding out what works for your body, individualizing things, is one of the keys to making your health resolutions successful. Some people say, I want to improve my diet. Other people say, I want to lose weight. Other people may say, I'm feeling tired and I'm going to get up and go to the gym every day. And they may not realize that there may be underlying medical conditions that could be causing some of those problems that are making it more difficult. And that's what I mean by individualizing what's going on, what's going to work for you. So in my practice, I do a lot of individualization of people's goals and their health needs. And we do a lot of testing to figure out, okay, what is going on for you specifically? And what are the things that you need in order to be able to help make you successful? For example, we might custom your diet and dietary recommendations that are based individually on you. Some people may have difficulty losing weight because they don't realize, they may have thyroid or adrenal issues going on. And some people often don't realize that with conventional healthcare practitioners, that they may not be getting adequate testing for their condition. For example, thyroid, they may only be getting one test and not getting a number of tests to get a full battery of tests that are really important to really figure out the underlying issue. Another thing is that everyone is different in terms of what they can handle in terms of their goals. So I see some patients that come in and I give them 5 things to do and they finish all of those 5 things in 2 weeks and then they want more. And other people take a really long time. It may take them several months to make one change. And so having someone who can work with you individually to know what is going to be most important for you and what is the pace that you need to be able to work at. Individualizing the pace of your goals is also really important because everyone, of course, is different. And so again, having someone who, so again, number one, someone who's going to keep you accountable, and then number 2, individualizing things for your own body, for what your body specifically needs to fit your health goals. Other people say, I feel tired all the time and I'm going to change my diet and I'm going to, go to sleep earlier and I'm not going to have so much fatigue. But then they do those things and they find out, I'm still really tired and I just can't figure out why. And they may have an autoimmune disease and that may be an underlying reason. So that's another example of individualizing things for yourself. Number 3, the number 3 reason why people aren't successful is that they don't keep a perspective in terms of their goals and what is realistic and what is achievable. So going back to the SMART goals, the A in SMART stands for achievable and R stands for realistic. So you want to make sure that your goal is something that is achievable. So for example, if you say, okay, I'm going to be meditating, and some people say, okay, I'm going to meditate for an hour every single day, but they may not think that, okay, is this really achievable for me with my schedule that's going on right now? And so that's something that you need to look at in terms of what is actually achievable for you. Because one of the keys in terms of making goals is that if you can have success in even just a little bit, even just a small goal, then that's going to reinforce your brain function in terms of feeling I'm successful, I'm motivated to go to the next level and then to get the next goal and then the next goal. But when we feel a sense of failure, then oftentimes that will kick the motivation right out the door. And so you want to make sure that your goal is achievable so that you can be able to keep perspective and make sure that it is something that you can achieve. R in the SMART goals is for realistic. So is it realistic for you to do it now? It might be achievable, but is it realistic today? If yes, then it's a good resolution. If no, maybe you should think more about it. So achievable and realistic, because one of the keys is that, especially with health, it's a lifelong process. So you really need to keep perspective in terms of being able to make sure that you're achieving your goals. Now, it's important that you don't try to do too much too fast, or on the other hand, that you don't do enough fast enough. I know it sounds really cliche, but balance really is the key. And it's just a lot easier said than done. So one secret to success here is to break each resolution down. And we're talking way down. So like, for example, someone saying, I'm going to meditate. Okay, well, let's break it down. What can you do realistically? Maybe it's not really realistic to say, I'm going to meditate every day for an hour, but maybe you can meditate for 5 minutes. Maybe you can meditate for just a couple of minutes a day. And start with 2 minutes twice a week. You can certainly do that. And then after you do that for a while, you start to build momentum. So you start to like meditation and you start to get into it, and then you want to do it more. So you add another day, or maybe you add another minute onto that. And the point is, you can do anything for 2 minutes. So that keeps you going in the process of maintaining your health, because again, health really is more of a journey. It's more of a marathon than a sprint, right? So we need to make sure that we're keeping our goals achievable and realistic. And that process is nothing but a series of ongoing resolutions about what you're going to do, what you're going to eat and not to eat, what you're going to exercise, what you're going to do in terms of your sleep and not to do, if you're going to exercise and keep moving, how you're going to get enough sleep, and so on. So while the process needs to be broken down, keeping perspective also includes having a vision that's big enough to keep you motivated and keep you grateful. So perhaps right now you don't have as much vitality as you would like, and you've always wanted to volunteer and help others. So your big vision for health might be that you always have enough energy to be able to volunteer and help others. So keeping it in terms of a bigger vision, that's really important. The number 4 top reason why health resolutions aren't successful is not having a written plan. And this also plays into some of the things that I talked about with the SMART goals, the S of specific and measurable. And the T stands for timed, as I mentioned. So when you write out a plan, then that forces you to come up with very specific objectives. And you can write down a vague goal, say, okay, I'm going to meditate, but then you can start to make those subpoints underneath it. And under those subpoints, you need to make sure that they are, one, that they're specific. So again, not just I'm going to meditate, but I'm going to meditate for 2 minutes twice a week. And it needs to be measurable. So measurable means that it's something that you can clearly say yes or no. You have or have not done this. So then, having those specific types of things, like I'm going to meditate for 2 minutes twice a week. That's specific and it's measurable because you can clearly measure those 2 minutes and you can clearly measure twice a week. So those are examples of having a written plan that's specific and measurable. Now you also want to make sure that it is timed so that you have some kind of time frame, and that's really important to include in your written plan. So say you're going to start January 10th and you're going to meditate for 2 minutes twice a week, every week until, say, February 10th, for a 1 month period. So that's timed, meaning that you have a time period in terms of how long you're going to meditate, so 2 minutes, and you also have a time period in terms of how long you're going to have to evaluate your goals. So you have a beginning and then you have an end. So when does that start? When does it end? So it's timed. So that's really important to include in your written plan. And another thing about having a written plan is that you don't want to just write it in a book and then you shove it into your backpack and then you never look at it again, right? So you want to have something that's written down, but you want to have it where it's something that you're going to be seeing it regularly on a regular basis. So say you have a binder that you keep in your bag and you open it every day for work. So maybe you have a 1-page sheet with your goals and you put that in your binder that you open for work every single day. Or maybe you have a Post-it note or a sticky note that will remind you about your goals that you put on your bathroom mirror and you see that every single day when you're brushing your teeth. Or you put something on your fridge or your bathroom mirror or your bedroom mirror when you're getting dressed. So you have something that's written down where you're going to see it every day that's going to help remind you about your goals. So I want to underscore about the importance of writing things down and having a written plan that is specific and measurable and timed. So I have a business advisor, and before I met my business advisor, I never had a systematic way of writing things down, and I never really wrote down any of my business goals or resolutions. And as a person who's successful in both the business and other spheres, he showed me how powerful writing things down can be. So he also worked with a number of nonprofit organizations. And writing things down were really key to having, again, specific, measurable, and timed goals and things that I could be able to use in my practice. And it was also very telling to go back and then to look at some of the goals that I had from a few years ago and to see where I am now. And so that's also something that gives you a sense of achievement, because you can go back and you can look and see, wow, this is where I was before. And then now look where I am today. So writing things down is really key, again, to help force yourself to be specific and measurable and timed, and then also to make sure that there's something that's going to remind you on a regular basis. And the last reason, number 5, what is the last number 5 reason why health resolutions are not successful? And the number 5 reason is that you're not setting up rewards along the way. And so rewards may sound really inconsequential, but they're actually critically important for our neurology to reinforce our minds to know, okay, I've achieved this. And then even on a subconscious level, that will help you to get excited and to feel more motivated to go on to the next goal. So say, if you have a child that wants a cookie and you want that child to clean up their room, what's the most effective way to do that? So maybe your child really likes cookies. So you give them a small cookie once they're about 5 minutes into the job. Then you give them another cookie 10 minutes in, and so on. And then when they're all done, you can give them a good job cookie along with a big hug and a thank you. So do you think that same approach will work for an adult? Yes, it will. And your reward may not be a cookie, but it could be something that is meaningful and helpful to you. And you want to make sure that your rewards include emotion as well as cookies. So strong internal feelings are what keep us most motivated. So the pride when we feel when we refrain from overeating, or the renewed energy from getting better sleep. Just make sure the feeling is meaningful and that you identify it yourself. Energy, pride, joy, pleasure, feelings that make you want to keep going. So of course we're not all the same, and not every resolution is the same. So if having a new pair of shoes makes you happy every time you wear them, that will work. It's just that most of the times things that we procure don't give us the same kind of inner reward that really uplifts us. So you want to have some kind of external reward, and make sure that, again, when you take your goal and then you break it down, that you're setting up a reward, a small reward for yourself for meeting every single goal along the way. And another way to think about it is, what will I gain from accomplishing this resolution? What will I gain from losing 10 pounds? Or what does it mean to be free of PMS symptoms? So that's something that you want to think, okay, what am I going to gain from this? And once you identify emotions that you can associate with that, then you want to make sure that you tell yourself that. For example, I'm really proud of myself for losing 10 pounds. And then when you achieve that goal, you want to tell yourself, I'm really proud of myself for that. And that you're reinforcing those emotions that are going to, on a conscious and a subconscious level, help to keep you motivated. So again, going back to the top 5 reasons, some of the things that you've learned today are about SMART goals. So making sure that your goals are specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timed. And that those are the qualities of a successful resolution. And now that we've gone through all of those things, review to yourself those top 5 reasons. Again, number 1, not telling anyone, keeping it to yourself. So you want to make sure that you're telling someone who is going to help keep you accountable. Number 2, individualizing your goals and knowing what works for your body and what's specific for you. And you may need help with that, particularly with health goals. You might need to have someone who is going to do more specific testing to really get down to the nitty-gritty of what's going on for you and what's right for your individual body. Number 3, keeping perspective, making sure that you remember that taking care of your health is a lifelong perspective, and that in that process you're keeping your goals achievable and realistic. Number 4, having a written plan that is specific, measurable, and timed. And number 5, setting rewards along the way. So these are the things that when people don't do them, those are the things that keep us from achieving our goals and our resolutions. When we do these 5 things, these are things that will dramatically increase the chances of your success. So again, we'll be wrapping up soon. I just want to remind you that we do offer a no-charge phone consultation if you want to talk with me personally about any health concerns or resolutions that you have. We do work in terms of goals, and often with patients, I will identify what's the main goal, and then we'll break those goals down into sub-goals, and then we'll set up rewards so that we have someone, so that you're accountable, and that you have specific rewards that are set up for each of those things. So again, that can be a really critical thing. So thank you for being here, and I just appreciate the opportunity to let you know about SMART goals and about the ways that you can be able to achieve your health resolutions for the new year. And I hope that you'll be able to use these skills in writing down your health objectives to empower you through 2019 and beyond. Again, if you would like to talk with me personally, you can just call our office and ask to arrange a no-charge phone consultation. Call our office at 808-425-2987, and you'll also find the contact information on our Facebook page. Mahalo, and we'll see you in a few weeks. And we'll be taking off for Martin Luther King Day, but we'll be coming back on January 28th. So our next Facebook Live will be in 3 weeks. And again, Happy New Year, everyone. Aloha.